Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to on today's episode in advance of John Cena's last match. We're going to be talking about John Cena's last year and giving our final thoughts. And if this retirement tour was a success, a failure, somewhere in between, and if they should try this again with somebody else in the future, not with John Cena again, because this is, the last time is now. Yeah, last time now. That's been firmly established.
Apparently, if you believe the talk, both directly and indirectly from the two people rumored, or in AJ Styles' case, confirmed to be retiring next year. Yeah, you gotta ask yourself, are they gonna take what John Cena dubbed as an unprecedented move in the Chris Van Vliet interview, a wrestler doing a full-on retirement tour, something we've seen in other sports, and actually staying retired?
What's the most prominent example in terms of other sports that you mentioned?
So I remember when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired. This was years ago. This was in the 80s, late 80s.
Yeah, like 89.
Every stop on the road, or his last stop, if the TV played quite often, they would gift him something. That's one that sticks in my head the absolute most, because he announced before the season, "I'm retiring."
Yeah.
And there's been countless other examples since then.
Did you hear about the guy who ended up suing? I don't think it was LeBron James, but he ended up suing somebody because LeBron had there was a social media campaign where LeBron said he was going to make a new decision the following day.
Yeah, and it ended up being an ad for something. I can't remember what it was, but it's an ad, yeah.
Some guy ended up buying a bunch of tickets to because I think he lived in Ohio, in Cleveland, and he bought tickets to the next Lakers-Cavs game thinking it would be LeBron's homecoming.
Yeah.
And spent a ton of money on it. And so, no doubt when LeBron, I think did Kobe announce in advance that it was going to be his last year?
He did announce in advance, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. John Cena is such a singular personality character, in wrestling, that this really kind of worked perfectly for a couple reasons. Number one, and this might be superficial, but kind of not, and that's the merch thing. The fact that he's known for having a variety of very colorful merch shirts that are very similarly themed. Obviously, the freaking picture of the cartoon or comic book drawing of John Cena in various poses, mostly saluting. And
there's that one where he's doing the I don't know what the move's called exactly. It's an Olympic powerlifting move where he's doing the overhead squat deal.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
Where he's got 6 plates on each side.
And so, it's an obnoxious amount of plates. Yeah. And so, for each stop, he's got a new thing. And there's something about Cena where a farewell tour just sort of makes sense. We talked about this on the show earlier this week, the idea that, could they do the same thing for Brock? And this idea of a retirement tour, the way they're doing with Cena, it's very sentimental. And Brock just seems like the most anti-sentimentalist guy there is. But and even because I listened to that Van Vliet interview, when John Cena reveals that he talked to AJ Styles and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing something like this?" And AJ's only response is, "Man, I'm 48." The subtext being he's already past time he probably should have retired. So the idea of a whole retirement tour doesn't really appeal to him, I guess. Mm-hmm. Randy Orton, is that somebody they would do? Again, he just doesn't seem like the kind of sentimental guy.
He doesn't, but it depends on which iteration of Randy Orton is is it heel Randy Orton? Then absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Babyface Orton.
There was also something very unique about Cena in that he was on the precipice of beating Ric Flair's, manufactured world title record. And this was an easy story for them to tell, and a pretty big story for them to tell. So that also made a lot of sense. So whether or not we will see it on anybody else, but I guess what we're going to explore kind of is, do you think they would look at this and say, what a great blueprint. There might have been some missteps along the way, but as a blueprint, you gotta think that with the right person, this thing could be, I don't know about replicated, but at least, they could follow a similar blueprint.
It would, we'll get into it more because we're going to break it down kind of by chapters of Cena's heel turn.
Or his last run.
Sorry, yes, his retirement tour. Sorry, yeah. And you listen to the Van Vliet interview, you look at the timeline of what he's done over the past year, and it's almost like they tried to jam too much in terms of story, and the motivation for that, the heel turn essentially, is it seems less, here's a plan we have that has been gestating for 3 years, because that's when in the interview with Van Vliet, that's what Cena said. He first pitched this idea in 2022 because from his vantage point, he had to clear his calendar for 2025. They had to make preparations for all the merch and all that, and that takes time. But he says they jammed 2 years of story in his heel turn into 4 months.
Yeah, he would allude to that often. He would mention, for example, the heel turn to Mania. He's like, we had weeks that we then, or months that we had to jam, like you said, 2 years into that, and he makes reference to that a couple times.
Yeah, so I think if there's one kind of area where they can look at this and potentially reevaluate, is, all right, how could we tell a streamlined story over the course of months or a year leading to this retirement match that feels fulfilling for both the fan base and the performer? Now, in the Van Vliet interview, Cena seems relatively satisfied with the outcome of everything, but yet at the same time, he's very diplomatic in terms of dealing with any potential criticism of said retirement tour, including at one point saying, he doesn't care about what ifs relating to a potential match with The Rock or any potential matchup that he did not get to have during this retirement run. It was more like, I don't deal with that. I don't want to talk about that. He doesn't seem to be that enthused about the idea of potentially fantasy booking his own retirement run. And I understand why to a degree. But at the same time, I appreciate in the Van Vliet interview, he's being actually somewhat, for him, pretty reflective and pretty forthright. Maybe somewhere down the line, he'll be like, 10, 20 years, when he writes his book, when there's a John Cena documentary, he'll be a little more open potentially about any real issues that he had with this. I mean, he alluded to, we had to change creative a bunch, and that seemed to elicit a measure of frustration for him.
Well, no, I mean, my takeaway from that was anybody who thinks you don't have to pivot all the time is kind of crazy. He said whether you're old or young, he says, I never understood people who were, younger, and they would express frustration the day of the show when it's like, creative's changed. It's like, yeah, that's the game. That's what it is. That's why I give a little bit more leeway when it comes to the idea of, hey, we've got, like you mentioned earlier, we got 3 years. Let's tell a story, because clearly in wrestling, that just isn't a thing. Like it's you want to sell tickets. Hey, let's do this heel run. I don't think it was simply, let's just do this right now, and then we'll worry about it later. It's probably like, hey, we do need to juice this up. What can we do? A heel turn. Okay, that's a cool idea. What can we do with that going forward? And Cena's idea of, and I love that we were fucking validated on this one, where he said, yeah, I intentionally put on bad matches. I suck the fun out of wrestling. That was ruining wrestling, which seems obvious now, but I can't tell you how many people he's not putting on an intentionally bad match. He just doesn't have it anymore. All right, well, the next month he had one against Randy Orton. That was much quicker pace, because Triple H was like, we can't do this bad match stuff. It's just killing the crowd, and the crowd matters. Yeah. And so certainly, dude, you would think that having, I think that creative matters to the people involved only in as much as what money it brings in. what does it matter from a business standpoint? And so they'll probably all look at this and be like, well, there's always going to be some missteps, but the business was really good.
Yeah.
And if that's the takeaway, then I could see them, again, if it's the right person, and I don't know, like maybe a Roman Reigns, but Roman seems like he doesn't seem like a very, it doesn't have to be like a sentimental type situation, but it can definitely be hey, Roman and Seth, for example, there's unfinished business with a variety of people with Roman, and Seth is like probably first among them because of, what happened with the Shield.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So I could see them taking that approach with Roman Reigns. I could see them selling a different Roman Reigns t-shirt in each market, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe with this experience, especially with the Travis Scott stuff, which according to Logan Paul, apparently Travis Scott just no-showed when they were supposed to do a 6-man for Money in the Bank or something like that.
Mm-hmm. It was a meeting or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it wasn't the actual show. But so...
And perhaps, going back to what I was saying earlier, perhaps frustration is the wrong word, but there was, I don't know, there seemed to be a little bit of subtext of, things didn't always go exactly how I'd hope, but he always presents himself as ultimate team player. I do what they ask, which I doubt he is bereft of opinions on things and ideas of how he wants to proceed. You know what I mean? Like
I know what you mean. You got to read between the lines with him, obviously. I am, that's one thing that's really hard to come to terms with, is this idea that I'm sure the guy will say yes to a lot, but
like, for example, do you actually believe that he had zero hand in picking any of his opponents?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, he, after WrestlePalooza, he says, this is how it happened. What do I got up next? What's happening next? I don't know. Wrestling is a weird thing, man. Wrestling's such a weird thing where seemingly so much of it is sort of, kind of just made up.
Triple H said that Cena, didn't he say that Cena picked opponent or something like that in an interview or something, or had a hand in it?
I don't know.
I kind of vaguely remember that.
Who would you trust more, Triple H or John Cena?
Oh, John Cena. Probably John Cena. But
yeah, maybe. They're wrestlers.
John Cena, everything you have to pick apart past the sheen of, he's really well trained in terms of dealing with media.
He's so committed to that that I don't know if he's just lying through his teeth.
I don't know either. Like, he is, like, the public persona of John Cena and how he presents himself. Like, I don't know if, like, that takes practice,
Okay, but
I don't know how you just wake up and one day when you're 25 years old, for example, I'm just saying, and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this, and you just do it. That takes reps to be that measured and that kind of calculated with every single thing you say. How many times during that Van Vliet interview do you say, I got to choose my words carefully? A lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is media training per se versus him just learning that stuff.
I think there's a certain type of person that is wired a certain way. And, he reminds me to a degree of LeBron James. It's wild to me, anybody who would come after LeBron James for anything. Because the amount this guy gives back to his community, the absolute lack, almost bizarre lack of scandal in this guy's career. To this day, I saw an interview or a little clip with him talking about Jokic with Steve Nash last week. And the amount that he comes off as both down to earth and a certain level of quirky, but he doesn't really come off as the kind as like, geez, I don't know. This guy has had success since like probably as soon as he can remember, because like 6 years old, LeBron was balling up people. You know what I mean?
I mean, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school. Yeah,
it's like the Orson Welles of basketball, basically.
Yeah,
in terms of like how early. I mean, like Jordan wasn't getting that when in high school.
No, he was cut from his high school team.
Right. This guy was being, as we learned in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
But like to still come off, but there's always like a little quirkiness to that personality, Like I saw a clip just the other day of somebody, like a reporter, I think it was like probably a dude closer to our age, asking LeBron a question about like it was just in the locker room about like, his knees. And he was like, well, that's just getting old. You know what that's like, right? Yeah. You wake up, things just hurt randomly. And it's just so down to earth, but it's like, this guy is not down to earth. Like in terms of like who he is, he's an icon, like still in the game. He's an icon. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Cena reminds me of that kind of where it's like, when he talks about, he was on, I mentioned this the other day, he was on Rogan talking about, well, we were really broke. And that drove me and gave me the commitment. And some people are just wired to be able to fully commit. It's just that super discipline because he knows he has that thing, but he knows that he could lose it if he doesn't super commit. And a guy with this much success has to be wired a certain way. And I just don't know, because what we're talking about to a degree kind of is bullshitting. Yeah. And I just don't. If he is bullshitting, man, shock me.
GOAT status. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
There's so much about him that just comes off as like so sincere and not rehearsed, So I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I mean, Cena has this way of towing the line between seeing sincere and unrehearsed while being at the same time incredibly rehearsed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I mean about, because in media training, that's what they teach you to do is to give kind of really sincere non-answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that he would talk around some of the questions in the Van Vliet interview or be so diplomatic in his answers, especially at the beginning. He got a little more open as the interview went on. But especially in the beginning, like I said, I mentioned on Thursday's show, I started watching the Tom Rinaldi one. And that one felt like immediately wall up.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I only got like 5 or 10 minutes into it, but it felt like he walked into that room with the wall up.
Well, there's definitely, I wonder if the wall up is a function of like what he views his job as in the moment, because the first thing he said when Van Vliet said, just what do you think about this year? He gave like literally the most marketing slogan ever. He was like, well, we brought in a lot of business by telling a story. And it's like, it was like the coldest response that any like WWE higher up would give. It had nothing to do with his own personal experience. And then he starts to slowly sort of open up the more questions that Van Vliet throws at him. And Van Vliet has a really great conversational style. Mm-hmm. But the more he opens up, especially when he talks about AJ Styles, and then I love that it refers to CM Punk as Phil Brooks. He went to Saudi Arabia with Phil Brooks, and he talked about how much that meant to him, but which was again one of those things where it's like, boy, I don't get that, but it's just sort of a quirk of his personality. Whatever that is really touched him. Whatever he saw there with Phil Brooks. Yeah. Really, really touched him. So he's just an interesting guy. And it's understandable why, he's sort of like, in a way, how Shaq has become just sort of that iconic personality of a certain thing. And Cena's sort of that way as well, which is why I have no doubt he's going to have all sorts of, on multiplied success in Hollywood or whatever else he does, So yeah. Anyways, before we continue on, because we're going to talk pretty at length about the actual run, the last year, we have a sponsor for the show, Larson.
We do. This episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by Aura Frames. Every year with me, it's the same thing. I try my best to find thoughtful gifts for everyone, but then I wait till the last minute because I'm overthinking everything. So when I finally do go shopping, all the shelves, absolutely barren. Empty. So guess what everyone gets, Steve? Gift cards. Just gift cards.
Oh.
But if you're a last-minute shopper like me, I have a solution for you, an Aura frame. Last year, I gifted my parents, who are always tough to shop for, an Aura Carver mat frame preloaded with pictures of the family, and it might very well be the best gift I've ever given them.
I actually gifted myself the gift of an Aura frame. You guys get to see it every day. Right there in that frame is a preloaded picture of my dog Gypsy on the first day she was in our house. I recognize that one. She was just a little baby back then. I lost her last year, but that frame right there is just loaded with all sorts of pictures of her, and it's like one of my favorite things. I get to come in the morning in the office, and it's already there waiting for me, another picture of her. And the great thing about Aura frames is you can effortlessly share unlimited photos and video by downloading the Aura app and connecting to Wi-Fi. Plus, each Aura frame ships in a premium gift box that's ready to put under the tree.
You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code RAW at checkout.
That's right. That's auraframes.com, promo code RAW. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. So Cena's last year kicked off at Money in the Bank 2024, where after that he announced during the press conference. No. Was that in the ring?
It was during the show. Yeah, he comes out during the show.
Yeah, it was during the show. That's right. Yeah.
He's already got his last time is now merch shirt on. And
where
he's got all the
was
merch.
that one?
Toronto. Was 2024 in Toronto? Or was that this year in Toronto?
Toronto was Elimination Chamber this year, wasn't it? Am I tripping?
It was in Toronto.
This year was in Toronto?
No, Money in the Bank 2024
2024
was in Toronto.
Okay. Where was Elimination Chamber this year?
I don't remember. I'll check.
Okay. In any event, he announced that he's going to be retiring at the end of 2025, according to the Van Vliet thing. Yeah, like you said.
It's in Toronto as well.
Okay, cool. He had said that he was going to be, he pitched to WWE, hey, I'm going to clear up my 2025. I'll give you 220 dates.
That's what he said to Bill Simmons on the Bill Simmons podcast. He said he wanted to do the full year.
Yeah.
Nothing but wrestling.
Yeah.
But I guess, he had other commitments, shooting movies and shows and such that it wasn't possible. And he pretty much said that he's happy he didn't commit to the full-time schedule, because trying to, he talks about it in that appearance as well as Van Vliet, do an appearance, getting on a plane, flying to Budapest to shoot, and then having to fly back,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which makes sense, I guess, that, they had to do so much to accommodate his schedule, which is probably why he appeared more often than not on Mondays as opposed to Fridays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It didn't do SmackDown any favors.
No.
But, at the end of the day, if this is the story they're pushing through the summer, they got to accommodate Cena's schedule. So,
yeah. Sometimes it's good to dream, I guess. But yeah, they got 36. I wonder, God, do we have any idea as to how much he made this year off this?
No.
You think it's north of 10?
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, he filled that merch bucket early.
I think. Oh yeah. I wonder if he made 20 this year. You think it's north of 20?
I don't know about that. 10, yeah. I don't know about more than 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the nature of the deal he signed for this. He
talks about like the deal. He's like, I pitched them incentivized deals. I pitched them this, and so I don't know. He never said what they landed on.
No, he didn't. But you'd think the idea of having him back for, as best he can accommodate a full year of being back, culminating in his retirement. Like, that seems like an easy pitch to make for them to say, yeah, we'll green light this from, WWE's perspective.
Oh yeah. You would think so.
Like, why wouldn't?
But he was like, hey, 220 dates, $1 million per date.
Pass.
200. We'll give you 36. How about that? And we'll give you $500,000 per date. All right, good. Deal.
But I don't like, given him his status and the circumstances, is he going to be able to negotiate a higher percentage of royalties as opposed to your average WWE roster member in terms of merch and whatnot?
Oh yeah.
You would think so.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, he got best deal on everything.
You would think so.
I just wonder if do you think he cleared the highest paid performer?
Oh, for 1 year?
For a year? He had to have. Of course the answer is yes. Whose eyes paid, like, in total? Like Roman?
I don't know. Like if someone got a huge payment for one of the Saudi shows. Like, like did Brock back before, they stopped doing pay-per-view bonuses or whatever, get a huge check for one of the Saudi shows or something like that? Plus on top of the ridiculous sum he was already making?
Yeah, Undertaker, I think, got like every Saudi show he got huge. I'm just talking about like for 2025.
Oh, for 2025?
For 2025.
Yes,
do you think he doubled up Roman?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Same. Yeah, same.
I mean, Roman was on what, 12 TV shows?
Yeah, but I don't know if he still makes,
Oh,
whatever.
it's not. I doubt he gets per. I mean, his downside's probably like 5. Hey,
yeah,
for
that's
5
what I was saying. Yeah,
yeah.
I think yeah.
So yeah, he announced his retirement tour, summer of 2024, and I don't think he was around very much until the Netflix premiere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's January 6, 2025, where he showed up and he announced he's going to be in the Rumble, and I believe he announced how many dates he was going to be around then as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right.
36 dates.
Talking about missed opportunities, Rock was there as well, and I know they did like a quick backstage thing. But like, goddamn, give him a whole segment in the ring. Give him something.
Dude, they already elevated expectations way too high between him and The Rock a couple months after this. If they actually set something up a couple months prior, to further raise expectations, it would have done them no favor.
See, that's where he didn't have to lie because he dodged it. I have to believe that he was clued into possibilities of fighting The Rock. And that's why I said, who cares? Oh, well, that means that fucking shit was at least discussed.
Yeah.
But he also did mention, I don't blame The Rock for taking advantage of having other opportunities and not being around, which kind of like the subtext of that was, I don't put it on him for missing WrestleMania.
Yeah, because he told him he wasn't going to be there.
That's what the reporting was. That's what the reporting was.
So anyways, he was in the Rumble. Of course, he was a runner-up to the eventual winner, Jey Uso.
Which was a great setup for him going heel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, between going how many years? Like 2,000 something other days without winning a match?
Mm-hmm.
Like the groundwork was all there for a very rational, logical heel turn.
Yeah.
Desperation.
Yeah.
He comes out. I think he says that. Yeah, he says that the January 6th Raw. Mm-hmm. I'm back because I want to win number 17. Mm-hmm. First step, winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
Desperation. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and then the press conference after the Rumble is when he pretty much says, "I'm John Cena. I get a spot in the chamber match."
Well, again, a really great foreshadow for the heel turn. So,
but apparently at that moment, the heel turn wasn't even a possibility yet.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that timeline. If that's really like Nick Khan saying, "Hey, we got to do something big because ticket sales are soft." All right, how about this? John Cena goes heel. It's like, well, you've already hinted at it. Like, I don't know. I wonder if it's sort of like maybe it was percolating. And it was like, hey, here's some things that we could do.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know. So then, of course, at Chamber, he was in the match. He won. Last eliminated CM Punk after Punk ate a stomp from Seth Rollins. And of course, that's when the heel turn happened. That was kind of the end of Chapter 1 of Retirement Tour. Was that moment at the end of Elimination Chamber, where he's in the ring. Cody comes out to congratulate him. The Rock comes down the ring because The Rock said, "Cody, I want your soul." And Cody says, "Go fuck yourself, Rock."
That, honestly, best segment of the year in probably any company.
Yeah, probably.
Because you have the combination of Cody saying, with the biggest smile on his face, "Go fuck yourself." I mean, honestly, you want a big moment, that's good enough.
Yeah,
you don't need the heel turn.
I know.
Go fuck yourself.
But just the shock of hearing those 3 words on WBTV, uncensored.
That is a Friendo award right there for best
That is.
line of the year.
Yeah, you got that right. So we all know what happens next. Cena's celebrating, and then he's giving Cody a hug, and then The Rock does the slit throat motion to Cena, and the heel turn begins, and they beat the shit out of Cody.
At that point, just absolutely magnificent. Just really great stuff. Yeah.
You thought, all right, this is Shakespeare we're about to see this year.
Yeah.
Because it all made sense. They were lining it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Desperate John Cena aligns himself with The Rock to be the corporate champion because he didn't think he could win the 17th on his own.
Yeah.
It all made sense.
Then we had his explains himself. I've been in an abusive relationship. And
he made a kid cry in Brussels.
Made the Brussels kid cry, of course. And honestly, I thought it was good stuff. I think a lot of people liked the promo, a little on the long side.
It was long, but the rationale made sense. It was logical. Cena's one of the best promos there ever has been in the wrestling industry, so it wasn't going to be boring. It wasn't going to not be interesting.
Right.
Did this particular promo go on a little long? Yeah. But this is where, is the build to Mania, where he laid out his manifesto, if you will. Mm-hmm. I'm the last real world's champion. After I take this title, I'm gone. There's no one else. There's going to be no one else like me. You got to come up with a new title for whatever champion is going to try to take my place. But when I'm gone, the lineage of the real world championship, W title, stops here.
And more importantly, I'm going to ruin wrestling. And he tried to do that. That was the game plan in the Night 2 main event. I wonder if he had how long this could have gone in terms of because we had said afterwards, this dude is trying to just put on dog shit matches, really slow matches. Travis Scott comes out, which I think was a big that was a fulcrum point right there. I think that was a point where it was like, this guy comes out meandering. There's no Rock. And then he does the bare minimum of a distraction. And then Cena's able to take advantage and get
the win.
And get the win. And, we were thinking, okay, well, the Randy Orton match is going to be kind of the litmus. Is he going to put on another crap match? Well, Triple H put a stop to that, according to John Cena. Said, we need some good matches right now. So the ruining pro wrestling thing, and you mentioned this to me, I think in private, we were just talking about it. Maybe it was on camera, I forget. But he said it was kind of like the Cody AEW heel philosophy. You take away from the fans what they want to see. And he mentioned the same thing about, the fans think they're going to get a new John Cena as a bad guy, meaning, different merch, different song. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take away what they want to see because I'm a bad guy. And we kind of see how that just... Can we just admit that doesn't work? That just
I think
doesn't
by
work.
Itself, it doesn't work. That could be one aspect of it. Ultimately, in the world of pro wrestling, if you don't want to see the heel get their ass kicked, they're not doing a good job.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And if it's strictly a situation where, fans, do you want this? I'm not going to give it to you. Well, that's just more of a mild annoyance as opposed to, I want to see this guy get his ass kicked, Yeah. It's it just comes across like, God damn it, why are you so petty? Just give us, if, in terms of the presentation of heel John Cena, I thought it was great. The plain Tron with just his name, none of the over the top kind of presentation, the bright colors, the cartoon drawings of him lifting 1,000 pounds over his head.
But he still had those. He
still
those
had
on
the shirt. I know. So it was kind of like a half measure, I guess, to a certain degree, because he was giving the fans what they wanted with all the custom t-shirts from each city.
Well, what he's saying is,
now if the expectation was set up early, going all the way back to Money in the Bank 2024, when he already had the Last Time It's Now shirt on. What they should have done is just taken the Tron, black t-shirt, Arial black font, John Cena retirement tour. That's it.
Yeah, and a new song or no song.
I like the idea. Yeah, either no song at all or keep. I like the rationale of keeping his old theme. I like that because, again, the expectation is there's going to be a change now that he's heel. But I just felt like, well, I agree. Either you go all in on that or you just don't do it. And I felt like the fact that they were still doing the same old John Cena t-shirts, each stop gets their own, unique shirt. Well, let's give the fans what they want. I understand there's a money-making aspect of it.
Yeah, to me, it's pro wrestling. Presentation is everything. So either you kill the music, you do the blank Tron, the t-shirt that you're talking about, or just a blank ass t-shirt, or he comes out in some Shibata gear, some Young Lion gear, and he wrestles like that. He pulls a full on Hollywood Hogan. Yeah, do that. But you keep the song. You can come up with any bullshit rationale for it.
Yeah.
And he did. I'm not going to change for you. Well, you did. I mean, you've taken away the Tron, So, yeah, exactly. I don't know. It just seems so, half in, half out.
Yeah.
And trying to justify the bits that are half in.
Yeah.
That I think it just sort of didn't work and it didn't go along with the thesis.
No, it didn't. It's the intersection of creative and commerce there. And at the end of the day, it's not like they're going to not print those shirts.
Yeah,
to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's just a ton of money right there. Yeah.
And that's what people want from their Cena merch is the brightly colored stuff,
Yeah.
with the really, at times, gaudy graphics. That's what they want from those shirts.
The press.
And, with a ton of weight over his head.
Can I, what, dude? I had Jesus, dude, you keep talking about that. Now I want to do that. I've got the one with me on it. Maybe I'll make one of Larson, given that you've been working out. We'll do a Cena-esque shirt with you pressing a bunch of weight over here.
Yeah. A couple anvils on a bar, huh?
That'd be great.
But yeah, that in a kind of a nutshell is what plagued much of Cena's heel run, and how much of that was creative pivots versus them trying to jam a whole story arc that would have taken years into months. Obviously when he eventually turned face, that was just one of those things where we need you to face now.
Let me ask you this. Is there a way you can ruin wrestling by not having dog shit matches?
See, I thought about that too. And I felt it's got to be a situation where I feel like the opponent has to realize Cena in this instance is trying to ruin wrestling by having dog shit matches and try to prevent him from doing it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
There's got to be a conscious decision by a realization by Cena's opponent. All right, I see what he's doing here. He's trying to sap the fun out of this. It's on me now to bring some excitement. So then during the match, you got that push and pull. You understand the story being told. And so the excitement will come from not, necessarily from a great sequence of moves. It's that push and pull of, Cena's trying to bring this back to a boring match. No, his opponent's trying to make this exciting. Yeah, and that didn't happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Cena does a simple takedown, and Cody tries a razzle dazzle move, and Cena just tries to stop it in its tracks.
Yeah.
Another, headlock or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was a much panned match, apparently even by Triple H. And then he was attacked.
I think you gave it -5 stars.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, you want to ruin wrestling? Fine. Mission accomplished. Yeah.
Hey, by that measure, maybe you should give him a high grade for it then.
I mean, if you want to go there, then I could always retroactively.
He set out to do something. He accomplished that.
I mean, dude, I can appreciate it. It's a bold move. It's like, hey, let's put on a dog shit match because I'm trying to ruin wrestling. It's a great thesis. It really is.
But here's the thing. You don't pilot that idea at the main event of WrestleMania.
I know, right? That's the thing. You don't focus group that shit in Mania.
No.
That's funny. So he was attacked by Randy Orton on the Raw after Mania. I think they had a great camera shot of Orton back there doing that.
Yeah.
Setting up that match at Backlash. And they did, Cena won that one, but it was a fun wrestling.
It was actually a really fun wrestling match. I did enjoy Cena employing the WWE title as his weapon of choice.
Mm-hmm, same, yeah.
The metaphor of that I thought was actually pretty pretty well done. And so, of course, during the Backlash match, R-Truth got involved, ended up costing Orton the match. So then Cena AA'd R-Truth through the table during the post-show press conference. They had a match. Really undercooked match.
Yeah, so the summertime is really when the retirement run went off kind of the rails, because you had the Backlash match was fine. That would have been in May.
Yeah.
And then you had late May, Saturday night's main event. You had R-Truth. That was like a 3-minute match, I think. It was
it was 5, at most. Yeah.
It was nothing. And then at Money in the Bank 2025, which was that in June or July this year?
It was June.
It was June. You had him teaming with Logan Paul to face Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, which is that a match we really needed?
No, I guess if the idea is that this was supposed to be the trios match with Travis Scott involved, which I think is what Logan Paul was alluding to. I guess they were counting on that. I don't know who Cody and Jay's partner would have been in that instance.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's probably somebody obvious at the time.
Yeah, but if I would imagine they had this match take place because obviously they didn't want to do Cena Cody 2 at Money in the Bank. They were saving that for SummerSlam. That seemed clear. That was the timeline they were working with in terms of the WWE title. But Cody returned to WWE TV shortly before this to set it up. So to kind of reignite the feud between Cody and Cena, building to SummerSlam, I guess they had this. I mean, you like to hope. Cena, limited dates. Every match should be important. Every match should be special, should be a part of the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
And I guess the one little thing that we got from the R-Truth one is the hesitation before using the title shot.
Yeah.
And at the time, it seemed like, well, is that genuine or was that a ruse? So Truth let his guard down. So they kind of introduced that idea in the R-Truth match.
Well, remember the Backlash post when the cameras went off. They did that where he was like kind of shook by the reaction. So it seemed like they were trying to do a couple things along the way to make it interesting. But I kind of feel like over the summertime you needed some sort of like major, because when was Night of Champions? Was that September?
That would have been July.
That was July. Okay.
That was July. So yeah, the tag match at Money in the Bank was kind of, you'd hope that, all right, pay-per-view match or PLE match, Cena, don't put him in especially as champion, don't put him in a tag match. Have him defend it. He did at Night of Champions against CM Punk. Of course, which was preceded by a pretty good John Cena pipe bomb promo.
That was awesome.
As well as an embarrassing Punk Life segment with CM Punk.
All right. I'll always point this out. Plenty of people like this.
Yeah, they do.
Including John Cena. And according to him, this is CM Punk's idea. And that's so I'm not gonna call this a failure. To me it was. But people swear by it. So at best, this is a mixed thing. I know plenty of people shit on it too. They're with us on this one because I thought this was embarrassing as hell.
Yeah.
But plenty of people swear by it, and Cena really loves it. So this unambiguously is like, oh yeah, no, I love this. It's great. It's amazing. I cried, according to Cena.
I wonder if it's a situation though too. So one thing in the Van Vliet interview is Cena can kind of, I don't know if it's making peace with situations that maybe weren't completely ideal or after the fact justifying them. Very often in that interview, he talks about how, of course, it's down to the wire here. This is his last match coming up this weekend. Oh, this was fine. This was good. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. He always finds reasons, and not to say he actually isn't, but I wonder if it's a situation where, all right, we want this segment to accomplish something. In their minds, it accomplished it. He's not going to bash his friend, Phil Brooks, his wrestling soulmate.
That's a really good point. If you did something similar to me and I thought it was cringy as fuck, but I'm like, oh man, this guy really is going out of his way to pay homage to me and I love him to death. I'm not going to shit on it. I'm going to be like, this was great. I loved it. This was what a great present.
Yeah. And another thing, Cena's convinced himself that anything's better than no reaction.
Yeah.
If it's positive, if it's negative, well, it's people voicing their opinion.
Because for 20 years, this is what Vince was telling him. Oh, yeah, no, doesn't matter.
And so if this segment did nothing else, it elicited an opinion strongly, one way or the other.
It wasn't forgettable.
No.
It was definitely not forgettable.
No.
And mix that with Phil Brooks going to Saudi Arabia and apologizing to his friend Muhammad in the front row there.
Yeah.
I guess that, that really meant something to Cena.
It apparently did. So Cena beats Punk at Night of Champions. Cody that same night wins the King of the Ring tournament. That, of course, sets up their rematch for the WWE title at SummerSlam. And then I think 2 weeks before SummerSlam, Cody pretty much tells John Cena, just go back to being the real John Cena. Please, I want to face that John Cena at SummerSlam, not this John Cena.
So, okay, let me ask you this, because I got 50 minutes into the interview. There was still about 40 left. Did he talk at all about going back to being a good guy? And that process? Because I felt like this was the biggest ball drop of them all. He actually talked in the beginning of the interview about once the opponent is decided for his last match, then you have to figure out the why. And sometimes, if you don't have a lot of time to do promos and stuff,
you do the why in the ring.
The story of the match, the why happens in the ring.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, why didn't you do that at SummerSlam?
Yeah. I'm guessing if he's the team player he says he is, he was told you're going to turn face tonight on the go-home show the night before SummerSlam.
And you make the best of it.
Yeah. I don't know. No, he didn't really mention much apart from the timeline.
Okay.
They had those 4 months to tell the story of him turning heel, and then him after, Cody lays into him the previous week, opening SmackDown, I believe, and just turning babyface. He and Cody share a beer at the end of this.
Yeah. This was a bigger miss. I can say, okay, well, the Punk life stuff, that's maybe polarizing, divisive, whatever. People are hot or cold
from
on
a creative perspective. You get it, because that's a common trope in WWE. You do the impersonation thing.
This right here was so lazy, and it's unforgivable that they actually came up with this and greenlit it. It's so like, oh man, I procrastinated on doing my homework. And now I show up to school. I got to hammer this out first thing in the morning before the teacher shows up.
Yep.
That's what this felt like.
It felt like bare minimum.
But with it, the big John Cena heel turn was done with, and we got a terrific match at SummerSlam between Cena and Cody that by any measure was a really, really good match.
It was. Looking back, you mentioned how this was such a huge creative misstep. In my mind, there's 3 during Cena's last year that were really pivotal in terms of shifting the opinion on it. Now, if they got those 3 moments right, I think the heel turn overall will be much more fondly remembered. It's the main event of Mania.
Sure.
It's the babyface turn out of nowhere at SummerSlam, and it's the Brock squash at WrestlePalooza. If they
what's funny, dude? I'm going to counter you on this one. This is one where when John Cena explained it, I was like, I get it. And I don't hate it. Even though I can still not be a fan of it, if that makes any sense at all.
See, I get it. I just think there's a way you can go about it so it's a bit more compelling.
I don't disagree with that. I'll tell you, I don't disagree with that at all. And I think that's why I'm not a fan of it, because the premise, I think, is okay. The premise is okay.
Well, here's the thing. No one's going to go into a match against Brock Lesnar and being like, oh, Brock Lesnar's washed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He comes out, and he's like more jacked than he's been in years. You know, he still moves like he always did. Like, until you see Brock is washed, no one's going to believe Brock is washed.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to do a thing where, Brock's got to go out and dominate John Cena to reestablish Brock Lesnar. He's Brock fucking Lesnar.
Was Cena seen between Brock Lesnar and the announcement that he was taking on AJ at Crown Jewel?
I don't believe so.
Okay. This is my main issue with it. But let me say this really quick.
Sure.
I think to me, WrestlePalooza wasn't the third thing, although I think that could be that what we're talking about is totally true with one alteration. I think there's one other thing that I would have done different about the heel turn. And that's as soon as you realize The Rock is not going to be there for Mania, maybe you still do the Travis Scott thing because I understand the philosophy of that.
Yeah.
He's the proxy for The Rock, right? He goes in there, they do the thing, Cena wins, they're standing tall. The next night, or whenever Cena shows up next for his Raw after Mania.
Yeah, he was there.
You gotta give us the reason why The Rock isn't there.
Yeah.
You have to address The Rock stuff. You have to do that.
You do. Yeah, I guess in my mind that's
that.
baked into the Mania thing, you know? Yeah, the fact that they never really addressed it. He alluded to it prior to Mania and obviously referenced it when he turned face.
Yeah.
Saying he was convinced to do a shock TV moment, you know?
Yeah. The thing that I like that I'm fine with, so he also defeated Logan Paul at Clash in Paris, which is fine. I mean, Logan's a fixture in WWE, so
that's when Cena started doing other people's moves.
Yeah, right. And that was the real highlight. And the match was good. The match was really good. It was
solid, yeah.
So then he gets squashed by Brock Lesnar. Now, when Cena talked about this, he was like, he sort of alluded to this being part of the complete story. You go in there and he's Brock Lesnar. Brock is returning and he's got to do a thing. What I didn't get from that is Cena's part of the story is also really important. And so even if you have this match the way it is, Cena really should have been afterwards, like in a promo or something, like, I need to figure out how to make good on this. And it doesn't have to be a Brock rematch. I got to figure out now how to close my year out strong. And that was an embarrassment or whatever,
Yeah. You can play that out during the match too.
It should have been folded into Cena's story.
I know it should have been, and he beats Logan at Clash after dropping the title at SummerSlam. So, all right, back on the winning track here. I'm going to finish out this last half of the year strong, going into my final match. Going to go out a winner, whatever you want to put it. The loss to Brock should mean something to him as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, is this more than just a bump in the road? Is this him questioning, man, am I even going to get through the rest of the year? Something like that.
Right.
And something like that could play out during the match. Like, where are the reactions of Cena acting at all? Yeah. It was just him getting his ass beat.
Yeah.
And that's just not enthralling. Brock could have won in 8 minutes still. Mm-hmm. They could have made it an interesting match that actually told a story. It just seemed like at that point, from the wrestling standpoint, just go out there and have matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because SummerSlam, they could have told the story of Cena turning face during the match.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it could have been something special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It could have been magical because when you can effectively tell a story like that during the course of the match.
Oh my God, yeah, it's great.
That's pro wrestling at its best.
It is, yeah.
And the fact that they just dropped the ball on that,
yeah.
I don't even know if they even considered it, or they just thought, this is easier to turn face the night before. Imagine that match going down roughly how it did, but Cena going into it as, like on SmackDown, Cena sets them up. Babyface now. They cheers some beer. Cena attacks him. Ha! Mm-hmm. I can still, your guard's down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you could just have one look from Cody afterwards, like, looks at him like, I'm so fucking disappointed in you, John.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it John feels that. And the next night at SummerSlam, like, the crowd is so behind John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
You have there's good stuff there. Do it.
Yeah, right.
Do it.
Yeah.
It could have been so awesome. That could have been a match of the year if they had done that right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So he gets squashed by Brock at WrestlePalooza. That is widely panned. And then does the the Twitter thing, because according to him, he's like, okay, well, who do I got next? We got AJ at Crown Jewel, and he said, okay, well, let me get a couple, because I don't have any appearances to push this. He's like, give me 2 hours, and so he puts out on social, hey, to AJ, wouldn't it be great? AJ responds, hey, Triple H, the guy who's running things, let's do this, and he responds. So it makes it look like, Cena's like, forcing their hand when this was,
it's like a groundswell of popular support to make this happen, even though it was all agreed upon in advance. Yeah,
right, exactly. And that match was awesome. They do all sorts of, homages, and it's great. The Bray Wyatt one, the best moment of the fucking run, really.
Yeah.
And then on November 1st, it's announced that we're going to have the Last Now Time is tournament. And the winner of that tournament will be Cena's final opponent coming up this Saturday. And then he really seems to like Dom Mysterio.
Yeah.
In that interview, he says, I was so happy that, what did he say? Three of
his last 4 matches were against Dom, I think he said. Yeah.
Were with Dom, yeah. And he won the IC title from Dom. He did not give a shit about the IC title. Van Vliet was like, did that mean something to you? He was like, I don't know, what put it on a resume.
He didn't give one damn about it. No.
It was like, I like that I was able to take a secondary title and make it something people wanted, but
that was like the one time he was really kind of stammering over his words, trying to find the diplomatic way of saying he didn't give a shit about it.
And he almost didn't give a shit diplomatically either.
I know.
He was like, that was the funniest thing when he said, what am I going to put it on a resume so I can get a wrestling match?
Yeah.
He's so dismissive of it. And then he loses the title back to Dom at Survivor Series. And I think, I was thinking of this. I'm glad we're doing this in advance of the last match, because in my opinion, with the exception of a couple stumbles, I feel like in pro wrestling, dude, if you have a couple stumbles, I think you've done all right. And we're doing this in advance of the final match. Unless something really dramatically horrible happens in terms of the quality of this match, then I think that this is a nice bow. The time is the tournament, the featuring NXT people, which apparently, according to John Cena, everybody, this was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if it goes on opening or the main event. Regardless if he doesn't tap out, which I think is a wonderful amount of intrigue going into this match. I think that, whatever smoke and mirrors he's got left, I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a crowning achievement for him. I really do. And I think that, I'm pretty safe in saying we can analyze that final beat through the lens of, hey, this is probably going to be pretty good. So we can look at this now. Yeah. And say, assuming this last match lives up to any amount of quality that it could, and it probably will, what does his last run look like? And I think, by and large, it's been a pretty damn good one for the WWE and for John Cena. He seems pretty happy with it.
He does seem happy with it, and I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of what matters most.
1,000%.
It's the culmination of his career. You'd want to hope that he'd be able to end it. Obviously, as he says, not on his terms, because he'd like to do this much longer, but his body won't let him. But at least he can end his career with satisfaction that, while it didn't necessarily go exactly how he may have wanted, he's walking out that door with the feeling of contentment and satisfaction about his last run.
I don't know that there's been anything, when you think about final runs for wrestlers, what Cena has said, and what we all know is totally true, they always stick around way too long. Mm-hmm. When you think about Ric Flair's final match, where the guy lost consciousness during the match and woke up and finished it, I guess, with his weird purple sleeveless shirt on. When you think of that, I'm trying to think of other Hogan had his final WWE match, and I think it was against Randy Orton. And then I think after that, he went to WWE.
Oh, TNA, you mean?
I'm sorry, TNA. He went to TNA. And I know he had matches there, but I don't even know what was Hogan's actual last match. Did he do like his own independent tour after that or something? I legitimately don't remember what his last match was.
Yeah, I don't recall either.
But when you think of other wrestlers of that ilk, like of that, Bruno kept on going probably too long. He was still sort of dabbling here and there, but also like I don't know how much money he still had.
Oh yeah, he was still wrestling well into the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bruno was.
Yeah.
So Hogan's last match was, what is this? Hulk Hogan, James Storm, and Sting defeated Bobby Roode, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle at TNA Maximum Impact Tour 2012 in Manchester, England.
Wow.
His last pay-per-view match, Sting defeated Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
that
I kind of remember that.
November 16th of 2011.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I mean, Hogan was feuding with your dude, with Bully, quite a bit in TNA. So,
oh, here's this. Okay, this is what I was thinking. This is what I was thinking of. 2009, he had the Hulkamania Let the Battle Begin tour, and his last match was with Ric Flair.
Ah, that sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah, so I was right. His last match was SummerSlam 2006 against Randy Orton.
Okay.
And before then, it was a year earlier. It was SummerSlam 2005. He didn't do anything between those.
That's when Orton was thick in the Legend Killer.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Gimmick,
yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. And I think at that point, like he had just sort of like, either the bridges generally were burnt and he was like, yeah, I'm sort of done with this. Because they weren't putting the title back on him or something. I don't know. In any event. But yeah, like in terms of, hey, you want to go out on a way that is in true John Cena fashion, definitive and maximized value. Like there's no petering out here. There's no sputtering out. Shawn Michaels had a killer end. I mean, there was the crown jewel thing, but like besides that last run of his was it was, and it felt definitive and on his own. Steve Austin was lucky enough to have. It wasn't necessarily it was a last run because he was really burning out, but he came back to make sure he put one great last bow on it. Mm-hmm. So, it has happened, but to this degree where it's all structured for 1 year.
Well, both those names you mentioned both came back for one more match.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the way Cena puts it, that's not going to happen with him. He's done.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point as well. Yeah. Yeah. And he's the one guy that I totally believe here.
Yeah.
I totally believe. Yeah.
I mean, he also said that he signed an ambassador contract with WWE for, I think, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
So, obviously, he's going to be around still. He'll still be out there, probably doing media work for the company.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll make an occasional appearance. So let's say that he maybe won't get physical in a segment or two down the line. Maybe. I wouldn't dispel the idea completely, but wrestling again? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. So, let us know what you guys think about John Cena's last run in the comments below. Join us this Saturday for Saturday night's main event. We're going to do the watch along and then the review right afterwards for that. And hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.